This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
It's time now for something new for you. It's KRAE Reports, a week in review. Now let's check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. And we welcome you once again to KRAE Reports, a week in review. Larry Perley and Nick Perley. We're both coming off that change of weather bug that kind of, I call it the terrorist flu. It just blows up our sinuses, I mean, it's just, wow. Almost it hits us right after the ball game on Friday.
Well, yeah, it's tough to go from 80 degrees to now at least drop it down to the 50s. Weather, again, it's going to be a little bit cooler coming up, but, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. So either way, yeah, we're battling the bug, but, again, it's nothing bad.
Especially talk about changes. We come out of tour season, and you think we get into normal type of activities here in Cheyenne, but things are going to pick up again as well, too, because we'll get into the holiday shopping season. We have Chief Mark Francisco joining us, Chief of Police Mark Francisco. And I heard you and Nick talking while I was grabbing a cup of coffee. We're going to have a new sheriff, obviously with the election. And right now, the front runner probably would be the former Chief of Police, Brian Kozak, on the Republican side. I know he has to go up against an independent and a Democratic challenger. But right now, if you look at the polling, you would probably have to say that the former chief will become the next sheriff of Laramie County. And that leads me to the question, Mark, right out of the box. You, chief of police, county sheriff, Wyoming Highway Patrol, talk about that relationship, because obviously all three entities have to get together and be on the same page.
Absolutely. It's it's a service to the citizens of the county that all the law enforcement entities collaborate. We're kind of all fishing out of the same pond of criminals, if you will, and so it is certainly beneficial to have a good working relationship amongst those entities.
I was going to mention schools back in session.
Sure.
And we see the flashing lights. 20 means 20, and if not, somebody's going to be there and write you up. School buses with their illuminated stop signs. You need to stop when the flashing red lights and with the stop sign. You're also going to be ticketed for that. I did notice this, though, at a couple of areas, and again, it's not nothing really of spectacular concern, or maybe it is, where you have growth of trees that are kind of blocking that sign. Again, people should be aware between 8 and 4 o'clock that light might be flashing, but is that the city's responsibility to protect our students that are crossing the crosswalks, or is it part of the property owner that they need to trim these trees that are blocking these flashing signs?
Yeah, well, I think it probably depends on where those trees are, about whose responsibility it is. But definitely, if a tree is blocking a sign, I think probably the best course of action would be, to call the city and make sure they know about it. They could either get the property owner to take care of it, or take care of it if it's on city right away. But yeah, for sure, Alex and I have been on an education campaign since before school started, getting people ready, to be on the lookout all summer long. They didn't have to worry about it, but now school's back in session, and we did this last year. I anticipate doing it every year, is just to bring people's awareness back up. Hey, school's in session. Watch out for kids. Parents, teach your kids how to, be properly safe in crosswalks, and, do all the safety talks with your own children. So, but yeah, if they're blocked, we'd certainly want to know about it. If they can call us, and we'll get it to the right people, or we'll call the city and make sure that they're aware that there's some issues.
Well, it certainly seems like, again, we talk about at least those school crosswalks, again, obeying those signs, again, obeying as well too with the school buses as well too. Again, we go back to previous couple of years where, again, we had incidents around town, again, accidents, and again, some students getting struck by vehicles. So far here in 2022, again, we have avoided those accidents, which is phenomenal. And this is something where, Mark, let's get into the crux of our conversation for today, is kind of go into crime stats, where at least when we anticipated to have you in, Mark, again, you released, at least the police department did release the mid-year stats here in 2022 comparison to 2021, where numbers-wise, across the board, outside, I do believe for narcotics did go up a percentage, at least here and there. But outside of that, again, violent crime to property theft, has been trending downwards, according to at least police department stats. And you, as the chief of police, Mark, you got to feel pretty proud that we're getting back to that normality, that here in Cheyenne, we are not that safe haven for criminals. And again, Cheyenne is becoming a very safer spot here in the Rocky Mountain Range.
Do you need a block of wood to knock on too?
I've learned, I've been in this business a long time, and I have learned that you got to be careful for taking credit when things are going trending in the right direction, because sooner or later they're probably going to trend in the other direction. And if you're taking credit for the downside, you got to take credit for the upside too. But the reason we look at these things is the trend lines are important to us. You can't really look at one incident or some isolated incidents and kind of tell what's going on. So you look at it over 6 month, 12 month, those kind of periods. And we're happy. 2022 is trending the way we like to see things trend. And since that 6 month crime report came out, they are still trending down. So we're hopeful that the entire 12 month trend remains down, and we can look at that maybe not in comparison to 2021, which was a very strange year with COVID around the country, really, and get back to looking at 2018, 2019 before all these things happened, and get back to those numbers where things were relatively stable. But it is encouraging. It's continued to go down since that 6 month time. So we're trying to keep doing what we're doing, and things are functioning well with the jail and the court system. Trials are back on pace. So I don't attribute it to any one entity. I think the entire criminal justice system is getting back on track.
Well, Mark, that again, mid-tier, at least midterm stats, again, released a couple months ago. By then now, and again, this is something that the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle has come out, a recent article saying that, hey, violent crime has been upticking in recent months, again, as we've seen a couple stabbings, a couple shootings around, not even just Cheyenne, but again, Laramie County in general. Again, there has been the accusation, I guess the best word, saying, hey, violent crime is starting to uptick here in the recent couple months. What is your say on that, Mark? Again, as we look at the trending numbers, at least here in the first couple 6 months, is violent crime really upticking, or is this, again, these recent incidents, is it just kind of just random nature here in Cheyenne?
Well, I think that's always the danger when you have a couple of high-profile things, right? You got a stabbing, or the county had a shooting, and you look at those things, and it's just human nature to say, wow, things are getting bad. But the numbers don't bear that out. The crime is down across the board, and violent crime, especially the aggravated assault category, is down 38% over the same time period last year. So I would absolutely disagree that crime is on the upswing. Now, these are serious incidents, and as I discussed with the report at the time, when you're looking at incident-based things, you're looking for some kind of correlation in those incidents. Are they the same? Is it a pattern amongst that type of crime? And all of these have been wildly different, and there's been arrests made in all of them. So it wasn't random crime. People had a relationship with the suspects in these crimes. They had some sort of altercation. So it wasn't just your random person going down the street minding their own business that were a victim. It was a personal issue between the people involved. So I would say that overall people are safe in Cheyenne and Laramie County, and that we've had a really fortunate investigations, and people have been arrested. They've been charged. They're mostly still in jail. So I think things are going the right way.
City of Cheyenne Chief of Police Mark Francisco joined us this morning. Mark, let's talk about numbers. I know the last time we were down a little bit in the police department. Let's talk about law enforcement for the city of Cheyenne. Are we at the numbers you like? Do you need more? Tell us a little bit what's available to you.
We do need more. The bottom line is we have a budget authorized strength of 111 law enforcement. We were at 110 for about a week, I think, and then we have a couple of people retire, a couple of people take other jobs, so we're down 5 now, and but we're working hard. We got one that's supposed to start later this month. And that will be a lateral transfer that's coming from California, so we can put those folks to work quite a bit quicker. We've got 2 in the academy right now. We tested the other day, so we've got 8 in various stages of our application process. So I'm hopeful it's going to be a bit of a short downturn, but we're going to swing right back up. I talk to my friends around the country that are in the business. It is a tough recruiting environment. Police is not the preferred occupation going on right now, but I will say I've been impressed with the quality of applicants that we've been getting in Cheyenne, and I'm hopeful that those that are interested in law enforcement will see Cheyenne as a fantastic place to have a career in policing.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I call us mid-America, and again, we have not encountered the problems of some of the major metro areas where either they have retired or just said, I'm done, and walked away from the profession. And you use the word recruiting, so I'm thinking, hey, college football, are you in that business of recruiting those that may have retired? Do you find out who these folks are? I mean, I don't know if there's a list or something of officers that have said, I'm done, I'm going to take early retirement. Is there a way that there's a network that you can get a hold of those that have said, I'm done, and maybe try to convince them to come out to this part of the world where hopefully the numbers are a lot less than you see in the major metro areas, and again, too, where the quality of life is a lot better.
Right. Yeah, people are actually seeking us out in those respects. The lateral transfer game. There are a lot of people that still love the profession of law enforcement. They just don't love where they're at. So we're seeing people, if they don't actively apply, at least with the Cheyenne Police Department, we're seeing people at least explore the possibility. So we get a chance to talk to people and tell them what we have to offer here. And, I came from a major metropolitan area, and I reach back out every once in a while and let people know, hey, if you're frustrated here, this is what community law enforcement relationships are supposed to be about right here in Cheyenne. We have, broad-based community support. We have our own government, and our city council and our mayor supports us. State government supports us. So this is how law enforcement was envisioned in this country. It works well here. It's a mutual respect amongst the officers for the citizens and the citizens for the officers. So I try and convince people that this is a good place to be, and if not Cheyenne directly, just some of the western states really still appreciate law enforcement and appreciate the relationship that has been developed here over years.
Mark, I want to get into something that we were intended to have, again, you in about a month or so ago, but again, post Cheyenne Frontier Days. Let's get into that of, again, in years past, Frontier Days has had its incidents. And again, we have those influx of folks coming in that are not from Cheyenne, but again, from Colorado, from, again, across the nation that come in and cause a little, at least, havoc on the grounds or, again, through Cheyenne. But again, that's police department's, again, job duty, I guess, to kind of keep everything in line and everyone's safe there at the grounds. For 2022, how did things go for Frontier Days? Did we avoid major incidents? What did we see from this past daddy of them all?
It was by and large it was a calm week. It really was. Now I say that knowing full well that there is a huge influx of people. So when you have that, of course you're going to have problems. But there were no serious problems. There were no major incidents. We had 11 arrests. Compared to 4 last year, but if you go back, that's consistent with 17 and 18. 44 citations, which is lower than we used to have. It used to be, 2018 was 150 citations. So one thing that's different from those years to now is we have a lot more visibility at the park. We have a lot more law enforcement personnel up there working. So I think that just that visibility alone reminds people that, hey, you're expected to meet, certain behavior standards up here. And so really it was, by and large, it was decently well behaved for the amount of crowds that you have up there, and the the concerts and the beer sales and all that stuff all contributes to a little bit of rowdiness, which we expect, but no major incidents, so I was happy.
Something that you mentioned off air, and we'll kind of bring it up, where you noticed, so at FirstTier Park, we were having a little Instagram or TikTok kind of, at least social media presence of, again,
Sure.
trying to cause fights up there. And we won't focus on, again, what happened there at FirstTier Park, or again, at least that specific challenge. But again, you see with social media, and again, with teenagers and folks like that, again, we've seen, hey, you go back to, again, we're eating Tide Pods back in the day and stuff like
Yes,
that. Again,
right.
it's something that for you, and especially maybe for Alex as well too, does the police department keep an eye on social media trends like that of, oh, here we go, that someone's encouraging folks to, again, I think of past couple months, again, I do believe we had a TikTok challenge of trying to steal cars. Again, it was something, again, encouraging kids to go steal cars. Does the police department keep on at least up to date, or keep an eye out on the social media trends to say, let's keep an eye out and let's prevent this here in Cheyenne?
Yeah, it's I'll be honest, it's a tough thing to keep track of. It's a very fluid, changing dynamic. So some of them are kind of national trends, and then this particular one you were talking about was more of a local trend. Sometimes we don't become aware of it till it's actually starting to take place. And one of the great things about our social media presence and the cooperative spirit of the community at large is, if we don't notice it, somebody will usually bring it to our attention, which we're very appreciative of. But man, once those things start, they're tough to get a handle on. Those things take off like wildfire. We do the best we can. We monitor it, and thankfully these folks are videoing themselves doing these things, and a lot of times we can identify them after the fact. And they're I'm a big believer that the way to get ahead of these things is to make sure there's consequences for some of these bad actions, and that would discourage others from maybe participating in some of these challenges.
It's interesting too, going pretty much what he's talking about, more challenges for law enforcement, especially in your position, as well as our sheriff and our Wyoming Highway Patrol, is drugs.
Sure.
And again, to the new drug of choice, fentanyl, that has been sneaking in like other folks across the border. And I know that we had a problem, and we still may, to a certain degree, have some problems with meth in our part of the world. We know that Colorado, it's legal for marijuana, but it's illegal here in Cheyenne. But I guess when I want to drive with the fentanyl, is that a problem that is sneaking into our city, our county, our state?
Yeah, absolutely. It continues to be a problem. I would say, if not 100%, near 100% of the overdose cases we run into is fentanyl related. There's no other way to, not well into the 90% of it comes through the southern border. Our federal government is failing miserably down there, and it's affecting the entire country, and we certainly see our share of it here.
How is that being distributed here in Cheyenne? Again, is it illegals that are bringing it in, or is it an illegal selling it off to me and then I'm bringing it in? How are you seeing the influx of this fentanyl?
Well, it comes into the country much the same way as the illegal immigration does, and largely in the same network. From there, it's distributed in all kinds of ways. So here in Cheyenne, we see a little bit of all of it, and it gets distributed widely and quickly. And the sad thing about it is, folks that aren't even really hardcore drug abusers, they may take one pill the very first time in their lives, and it's mixed wrong with the fentanyl, and now you got an overdose situation. I was talking to some friends the other day, and they had a tragic incident, and a good kid, never been in any trouble, took one pill and died. And so that's the danger with fentanyl. It is so loosely and laxly made that there is no quality control of you're just taking your life into your hands. And some people don't even think they're taking fentanyl. They think they're taking some other kind of pills, because they're mostly counterfeit pills. And man, the first mistake they could make with it could be their last.
What are they being labeled as? And again, are they being labeled as medicine? Even in some cases now we're seeing it's made look like candy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, how is it being marketed to take care of the unassuming?
I think frequently people think they're taking some sort of painkiller, oxy or something like that has been reconfigured and made much tougher to get than it used to be, but people still think it's out there. So what they're getting is a counterfeit pill that looks like the real thing, but is really some sort of base mixed with fentanyl. And as we all know, I think we've all seen the reports on how a minor amount of this stuff can be very deadly, and they get something that was mixed incorrectly by somebody probably making it in their basement.
Well, I'm glad we're getting kind of the PSA portion, and again, alerting folks on fentanyl, which again has been a growing trend, and again, it's just an awful thing that's sweeping the nation, and again, killing off a lot of folks as well too. To kind of step away from drugs and kind of more on the serious side of things, which again is still something that again Cheyenne Police is still addressing and trying to prevent here in Cheyenne. But on top of that, you have to deal with other things, and something of recent for the police department is we have a recent scam that you are alerting to the folks, I do believe, regarding asphalt payment. Let's talk into that of what you're noticing on a recent scam that's at least happening here in Cheyenne.
Yeah, so it's happened at least once. It was brought to our attention, and we quickly got some information out because these things tend to go fast, and the people leave town. So this particular one involved asphalting of somebody's driveway, not just the seal coat. I think we've heard about those scams in the past, and they were given one price and an estimated measurement. Contract was signed, and then the price at the end was drastically different because the measurement had increased of the driveway, and the folks felt like they had no choice but to pay since they'd signed a contract. So what we want people to come away from this is you really need to vet people doing the work. But typically what these folks will do is they'll make it a high pressure situation. Hey, I'm just doing a job down the road. I'm going to have a lot of leftover material, so I'm going to make you a great deal on it so I don't have to dump it someplace, and this is going to be a great deal for you. So it usually ends up in some subpar work, a price drastically different than you thought you were agreeing to, in those kinds of things. So it's the age-old adage, right? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And so we just want people to be aware that those kinds of things are going on, to vet the person you're going to do business with, check some references, review that contract. And if they're putting the high-pressure sale on you, there's probably something wrong, so be aware.
But the scams, though, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, are basically geared for, here I am 65, geared for my age group and above.
Right, and I think these folks that are prone to do these kinds of things probably feel like they have, a better target audience with somebody that's maybe a little elderly, and they can kind of bully them into not only signing the contract but then going along with it afterwards.
And knowing that they would probably have money,
sure,
to back it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark, last thing, and again, we appreciate you coming in today, again, speaking, and again, giving us an update out of the Cheyenne Police Department, and again, good to hear that numbers are trending downward, especially here in 2022. Last thing I do want to hit upon, Mark, and I'd be remiss not to, as again, it was a very hotbed issue in the past couple of months, and this is something that we won't go into the details, but it's more so of the police department's handling of this, especially on social media, regarding Sergeant Testerman, and again, the Wyoming Highway Patrol trooper that, again, is being investigated by at least Cheyenne Police Department. Information was at least not released by the police department. It was more so by Wyoming Highway Patrol. But for the police department, again, not releasing that information, folks kind of at least called out the police department saying, hey, it was hypocritical of, hey, you'll do it to average Joe. Why are you protecting one of your own? This is something for you, Mark. I want you to at least kind of talk to the at least listeners, viewers out there of, again, why the police department did this, and kind of at least the decision to at least withhold that information, or at least his personal information.
Well, the decision to do that is really not ours to make. There is a Wyoming state statute that prohibits the release of victim information and suspect information for certain types of crime. So we were actually following the state statute. It would have been no different. You mentioned the average Joe versus a law enforcement suspect. It would have been no different for anyone. We are statutorily prohibited from releasing certain types of information. So we were just following that. Now, at a certain point in the court proceeding, there will be an occasion that we can release that. So we were towing that fine line between the public's right to know, which we released what we could, and then what we can't release. So we were, I don't want to say stuck, because I do agree with the intent of the state statute. And, you know, we did our best to do the education piece on our social media. It was a little tough because a name was already out there, not released by us. So it seemed like we were not releasing information that others already had. But at the end of the day, we were following state statute.
Final thought from me, again, on behalf of Nick as well, too. I want to say thank you for coming in. We're getting into the holiday season, shopping season. I know it's hard to say that here in
right?
mid-September,
Yeah.
but things that common folks should be aware of, things that that you have seen through the years, you know, whatever it's scams, holiday thefts, that type of deal, things that people should be aware of when they're out doing their holiday shopping, or, you know, not locking their vehicles.
Sure.
Give us a little bit to be on the safe side when we shop.
So, you know, it's no secret to anybody that's from Wyoming, winter is coming, and a popular thing to do is warm your car up, and that contributes to a lot of auto thefts. Now, I will not argue with people. It's my right to do what I want and warm my car. I just don't want them to be a victim. I understand a cold car is not pleasant to get in. But if you can't lock it after you leave it running, somebody walking by is liable to hop in it and take off. We saw a lot of that last winter. Packages, a lot of people out shopping, like you mentioned, secure your stuff, put them in the trunk, put them out of sight. People walking by see those things. It's a simple matter of breaking a window and taking them. Then we got the whole, you know, Amazon Prime and all the porch pirates, you know, so have a plan for that. I know there's all kinds of things now where they'll actually open your garage and put them inside, and those kinds of things, the delivery companies. So consider some of that stuff when you're having a volume of packages delivered. So it's really some inconvenient thing, but it's common sense stuff. We got to make it hard for the people to take our items from us, right? So be mindful. Don't make it easy.
All right. Well, again, we want to thank City of Cheyenne Chief of Police Mark Francisco for joining us here in 1480 KRAE. I know, again, his time is valuable, and we appreciate him giving us a half hour of his time. Thanks so much, and you are always welcome to come back again.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. This is KRAE Reports, a week in review. Let's pay some bills. We'll be right back.
MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151. It's always non-stop excitement when you visit one of our 3 locations of Wine Me Down. Inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, the Cheyenne Plaza, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard, next to Culver's and Office Depot, where we offer many new machines and also have plenty of food and drink on hand in our spacious Delrange location. The action is always fast and furious with our pari-mutuel wagering from the nation's tracks and our pari-mutuel machines, which offer many different and fun games to play on. You can become the next big winner here in Cheyenne. Make sure to take advantage of all the promotions that we offer too. So come on in today and bring a friend to enjoy a lot of fun and excitement at Wine Me Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, painting, tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. We're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Remember, for all your lumber and hardware needs, stop at the family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies is leaning in. We know this is a difficult time for many Wyoming families and that nobody should suffer due to a lack of food. If you or someone you know is in need of nutritious foods, go to our website at wyomingfoodbank.org and click on Get Help. We also need your help. Go to our website, click the Give tab, then Events to learn how you can help your community through volunteering and making a donation. You can play a role in fighting hunger and feeding hope. Please give today.
Treat your taste buds to a warm bagel and Mort's Bagels with your favorite cream cheese. Perfect for the office or perfect at home. Mort's Bagels are always made fresh and delicious daily. They are perfect for breakfast and lunch too. Did I mention perfect? For 3 decades, Mort's has served us with amazing bagels and customer service. Ask about their specialty and seasonal selections too. They even deliver. Mort's Bagels. Treat yourself today. 1815 KRAE Avenue, downtown Cheyenne.
1480 KRAE is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 KRAE features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 KRAE, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480krae.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine. Expect the daytime high near 86. Mostly clear for tonight. Low down to 54. Continued sunny for tomorrow. We're expecting a daytime high near 84. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy. Low down to 50 degrees with a chance of showers. And on Wednesday, a little bit cooler, mostly cloudy and breezy. We're expecting a daytime high near 61 with a chance of showers during the afternoon. Again, thank you to Chief of Police Mark Francisco joining us here on 1480 KRAE Reports that we can review. And again, too, as he really can't give us much information on the Wyoming Highway Patrol situation, but
it's an active investigation, in fact, in an active case right now regarding Sergeant Testerman, absolutely. But it was something that, again, police department, at least, again, in their social media posts, took a lot of flack. And, again, they were backed behind that state statute saying, hey, we are unable to, even though, again, that information has been released by other entities, including the Wyoming Highway Patrol. But, again, at least it was their stance of saying, hey, again, this is why, again, it's not favoritism, it's not this or that. It was just, hey, it's a state statute that, again, we had to follow that. That's just what they had to do. But getting into, again,
I was going to say, I've known Sergeant Testerman for many, many years. So, to my complete shock when I heard this story and read this story, it was like, wow.
And this is something very serious as well, too. Again, it faces Sergeant Testerman. And, again, if he's found guilty, and, again, that's the important thing, found guilty, could face up to 150 years in jail. Again, a heavy fine as well, too. Again, this is some serious sexual assault allegations right now, and I do believe coming out of Sweetwater County. So this is, again, a serious topic right now, again, regarding, again, is it a situation of abuse of power? Again, you hear of similar cases to like this, again, of those, again, trustworthy, again, under the badge, again, do abuse that power. So, again, it sounds like it's a little bit of that case right now coming out of the Wyoming Highway Patrol. But, again, it is very serious and, again, has moved to the district court right now. So, again, we will see how this does evolve. Police department as well, too. Again, at least CPD has been at least internally investigating this situation all the way back, I do believe, since May 2nd. So it's been ongoing for a while, but again, the arrest has been made. Again, trial and again, everything is going to move forward. At least that judicial process coming up very soon for Sergeant Testerman to see, again, is this true? Is it not? What's going to be of it?
Switching gears, and this will involve our next guest. He is the president of FirstTier Bank, Tim Ostic, and I do believe he's going to bring in one of his employees. I do believe it's going to be Caitlin that comes in. But situation that happened, believe it or not, to yours truly, and I'll include you in this, Nick. With my company, I probably deal with about 5 institutions here in town, so add yours, 6 of them that we have contacts with. And during the time that I was down with COVID last year, when I had COVID too,
So July 2021, yeah.
I was in the hospital July 8th and 9th. Somebody and this, and again, I throw the onus on me as well as my institution. Somebody compromised one of my checks and did a terrible job.
It's a terrible fake, yeah.
It's
And
a-
again,
it's
we're
a-
not,
yeah,
we're
it's
not
a
going to
te-
show any of
No,
the
no,
information.
it's a
clearly, again,
terrible
not gonna be
fake.
that dumb, right?
Compared to what I do, and wrote it for a hefty amount. Now I blame myself because again, I'm like you, and not to a degree. You know all that stuff better than me. I go online and I check and see what checks come through, and then I used to always have the carbons. Well, that got too expensive when I reordered my checks from my current institution. So I went without the carbons. So when I write a check, I got to wait to see what it comes through and then check out my bank statement. Well, at that time in July, and matter of fact, you even know as well, too, because I was going, where's all our money at? Larry forgot to send the billing out, right?
Yeah.
So, I was basically a basket case throughout the month of July of 2021. So I did not check thoroughly through my bank reports that a fraud check had gone through. And my institution paid it. What makes me upset. And
Well, and it sounded like also too again, and again, this is on you to at least explain upon it, but again, did not alert you on a charge like this, or again, did not question. And again, we'll get more information on this at least situation from
Well, and
from Tim Ostic as well too. Again, just explain how the check
this
process
is
works.
the point, though. This is the point that I should mention to everyone, not just my age group and above, but to everybody. On my checks, I am the only one authorized to sign it. And this was signed by another individual. And it was for X amount of, it was for 4 figures.
Yeah.
And what makes me, and it was up, and again, too, I did a lot of investigating over the weekend. And it was written to a person who's 87 years old, lives in Miami Beach, Florida.
Which you would assume again.
Yeah, and used her Social Security number. It didn't say for deposit only. All it did was it was signed by the person with the Social Security number. They paid cash. Well, here's a check going through that institution to the feds, and then eventually it makes its way to my local institution. But you would figure a check of that amount, and even the way it was forged, without the moniker of that particular local institution,
Yeah.
and again, with all the information that was left off my portion of the check, you figure there would have been some red flags. And again, the name on the check was Larry Peroletti.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's a scenario that, and again, this is, and again, you got the explanation, or again, I barely overheard the conversation that you had with the VP over there at that bank, but it was something that, again, they equated it to short staff and kind of made up excuses X, Y, and Z about why we're again, and again, not knowing the internals outside, again, with at least with my girlfriend Gina, again, working at Federal Credit Union over in Laramie, but again, kind of gave us a rundown of how things operated. But it sounds like, again, there's many protection layers. It's kind of like TSA or airport security, where again, there's many layers to prevent, again, a terrorist to get on board of those planes. It's something that, again, it starts with the tellers. It starts with this or that, where again, if it got past all these other layers, again, your bank should have on the back end, especially bookkeeping, to keep an eye on it. Again, my understanding, at least from Gina, and again, we'll get that from Tim as well too. It's a scenario that, again, bookkeeping should have been on top of that to realize, hey, check numbers were out of range. That, again, that check looked fake. Again, it had an interesting routing number as well too. That there was a lot of red flags at why Cheyenne State Bank, or at least, excuse me, I just at least alerted them out. But either way, that bank, why they allowed it to go forward. Again, there's many checks and balances from my understanding regarding check fraud these days, especially where, again, look at, and you equate it to kind of Catch Me If You Can. Again,
that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. But, well, here's the other thing too. I thought about this morning. When you put money into a institution, they're stewards of your money. They're protecting your money. So when you need some money, you have to ask them for it.
Yeah.
Or if you write a check, you're basically asking for them to pay certain individual out of your account. but they're stewards. They're overlooking your account. I know they've got a lot of accounts to deal with, but the point is you're trusting them with your money.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, there were so many red flags. And matter of fact, when our guests come in, I want to show them exactly what was all, taken care of. But again, as you and myself looked at it again this morning, the name of the company is wrong. The lending institution is wrong. Down at the bottom, the routing number and the account number were right, but it had different symbols at the beginning, different numbers underneath the actual check number. And here's another thing, too, where I'm very upset with my current institution. How do you make a mistake of 5,000? Again, this was 5,000 checks above what I currently, out of sequence.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Nick, how many red flags do you need? And usually,
the surprising thing as well too, and thankfully again, they're not an advertiser with us, and again, I wouldn't want them on board after this situation. Again, I wouldn't even bank with them as well too. I'm happy with what I have right now, but it's a scenario that, with this institution, it was interesting as well too, where they treated you not so much as a customer of theirs. It was more so of, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And we're gonna move forward. Where again, I said, and also too with Gina as well too, where we spoke with you over the weekend, probably should fight to get that money back. Where again, it seems like as much as you're taking some of the blame, that institution also too deserves a lot of the blame.
And they're insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So my point is,
it just sounds like they're lazy to put in the paperwork.
Well, they're saying because it's 15 months later. Well, and then they're telling me that I should go to law enforcement, sheriffs, and because I guess that would be their next step, would go to the sheriff's department. Well, I did more investigation than the sheriff's department's going to do. And they said, well, it probably will just not so much fall on deaf ears, but it'll be filed and, it's lost money. But you're right. I think I should get it back. And again, do I accept some blame? I have to accept some blame because I didn't catch it right away.
Yeah.
But the point is, too, I was also asked at that time by the hospital was to give them my bank statements because when I was in the hospital, they recommended I get some financial aid.
And this is something where I would encourage you not to at least
Never
go into assumptions, but it's something that, again, we saw what happened with the Cheyenne Regional Medical Center. Again, that data breach that was alarmed to the entire, at least to everyone that's been at that hospital, that someone internally, again, data breached a lot of information out there, which, again, not going to assume.
No, they said they destroyed my documents.
But I'm just saying, though, again, it kind of brings up, that potential question. Again, it's like with any data breach out there of, again, the Targets of the world, Walmarts or whoever, where, again, all that personal information, your credit card numbers, hey, it gets stolen. And, again, you worry of who has it and what do I need to change or who's copying what and using what to move forward. And again, that's where due diligence comes in as well, too. Thankfully, there are, again, the Credit Karmas of the world that let you keep an eye out on any inquiries on your account or, again, keep an eye on your statements as well, too, if anything's fishy. So there's securities out there to kind of protect yourself just in case.
I've had one instance where somebody tried to pull the fast one on me, so to speak, and my other institution here in town texted me, said, and again, too, you have all those various sites that help you out now. But my lending institution called me or texted me and said,
this is different.
Yeah, I know.
A different one, yeah.
Yeah, but they said, hey, did you authorize this charge? Did you authorize this charge off your your debit card? And I said, no. And they stopped it right away, went back in the next day and got a whole new debit card. So there are some places, and I'm venturing to say when we bring in Tim Ostic from FirstTier Bank, with now 2 locations in Cheyenne, that they have those type of protections. Now, this one institution only has one bank here in Cheyenne, but again, I don't want to hear the excuses of, we're short on staff. We're short on staff here, Nick, but people expect us to be on the air 24/7.
Yeah.
And when we say we're going to do a football game on a Friday night, we're there. We're doing a game on a Friday night.
But us short staff is a lot different than a banking institution that is, again, protecting, customers. And again, it seems like that's the difference between your institution and, again, others around this city as well, too, where, again, they saw you as just, a number and not as a customer. They didn't respect that, again, it was a lazy excuse, and it sounds like it's an institution that's being lazy about it. And again, we're at least as I name the institution, I'll do it again of Cheyenne State Bank. Again, this is kind of more of a PSA to keep an eye out that, again, or at least, I would say a PSA to warn folks of if you do bank at that institution, again, keep an eye out that, again, it's happened there before. And not saying it can't happen to other institutions, but it seems like with this one, there was many red flags that, again, as the back end or, again, the final kind of at least last portion of protection for you and your account and your money, they should have been on top of it, which they clearly weren't.
Well, in today's technology world, they should have been right on top of that right away. And, and back in the day, if I matter of fact, if I've had red flags before where I wrote a check and I didn't have enough to cover it, they would call that institution and say, hey, he's writing a check. And they'll say, well, he doesn't have enough. Well, they can't accept my check.
Yeah.
So, again, there are protections in place. Now, again, I don't know where this check was cashed. Again, like I said, to the person that it was written to, lives in Miami Beach, Florida. She's 87. Probably not alive.
Which my understanding as well, too, and again, this is going to be more deep dive and anticipate that in hour number 2 of, again, kind of a PSA to keep an eye out, again, for those who do write checks or, again, businesses out there as well, too, that, again, my understanding is that your institution gets all that information of where it's getting cashed at as well, too, or, again, where that check is at, or, again, where it was diverted to. So unless, again, there's something above our pay grades, above our minds, again, not knowing the banking institution all that well, is there a way to scam that information to go, hey, it looked like I got it here, I got the money here, but instead it was actually here? Again, is there a way to change that? There might be. But it sounds like, again, my understanding is that your bank should have had all that information of who cashed it, that information, again, who authorized that. Same also to where it was cashed, or at least where it was deposited to. So, well, again, all that information is in the bookkeeping section there at your bank.
Well, and this is the ironic part. It was written on the 9th of July, 2021, cashed on the 12th. So you figure in that process, it took about, let's just say it was even cashed east. We don't know. I mean, we have no idea where it was cashed at because there is no institution. Now it has numbers on it, which might be the lending institution. I don't know. But my point is, it was cashed. You figure by the time it circled back that I'd be getting a call from the lending institution saying, hey, did you authorize this check? Because, again, it does not have your signature on it. No. And here's the other part, and this is what I'll get into. Why am I going down to these places and filling out all these cards, signing all this paperwork, and yet somebody whose name is not mine is signing the check, and you allow it to pass through? That doesn't make any sense. Why am I filling this paperwork out?
Like I said, it just sounds like with your institution, it was pure laziness. It was just pure, again, as much as the numbers saying is I don't think it's a valid excuse, but if they're going to go off of that, it's something that, again, if you are limited staff, make sure that they are due diligent on everything, or, again, you got to find a way to make sure that every customer there is well protected. Again, you are on top of that bookkeeping to, again, make sure, hey, X count Y.
And you got to dot the I's, cross the T's, because if I do right, and luckily we had, during that time I was hospitalized, we actually had enough in the account to cover it. Because that was first thing I said to him. I said, did this put my account in the red? Was I in trouble at the time? Yeah. And they said, no, you had enough in there. But my point is, though, you obviously knew to cash this check. But if I write a check that bounces, that goes back to them, I get charged. So obviously they're on top of me screwing up.
Yeah.
But they won't take fault for what they did. And then again, they're trying to throw the onus back on, where it got lost in the system. And I'm not buying that either. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, we'll see again how this at least kind of divulges over time. Again, if they will break down, or at least again will at least move forward and give you back your money, which again, in my personal opinion, again,
I wrote it
others
off
as well
as a
too.
loss.
Again, others say that you probably should get that $2,000 or at least that money from at least your institution back towards you, because again, it was, again, who knows what was going on, but it was a fraudulent check, and again, that also too brings up at least very quickly again question of concern of who was copying, or at least saw one of your checks or knew your information and put it onto again a clearly fraudulent check that was just a very bad copy.
Well, and again, too, same thing here at the radio station. I would say of our business, probably about 90% of it comes to us via check. So again, whoever sends me a check, and they usually have record of what the check number is, how much it's for, what it was for, I will put it in our shredder right away. So that information's not there. But gosh, I'm thinking to myself, if you're a business and you're sending checks, man, oh man, anybody can just hold it up to the light and say, oh, it's going to so-and-so and for X amount of dollars. I mean, that's today's criminal is absolutely technologically a whiz. But whoever did my check, the reprint of my check, did it half-arsed. And got away with it. So that kind of tells you that the bad guys right now far outnumber the good guys.
I don't know about
that.
Well,
let me rephrase. Let me say the bad guys are a little smarter than some of the good guys. How's that sound?
Yeah, neither here nor there. But either way, again, we'll move on. Again, we'll talk about that in hour number 2. Get an kind of PSA talk, again, just what to keep an eye out, again, regarding your accounts and, again, checks and checking accounts and all that good stuff. Again, how the process works and how to protect yourself. And, again, what protection layers are available.
Well,
I want to get into, again, before our guests get in here, again, 5 minutes away from them.
I just want to throw one other thing, too. And my friend, our IT guy, Atlantic Affordable Computer Repair, I'm sitting next to him the other day, and he gets a call from an elderly lady where Microsoft supposedly put something on the screen. Well, these are scammers, and you know it. I've always asked you questions, is this legit? And what they, and unfortunately, they prey on the older people. Because guys like you, you're smart. You know what's going on. But, they clicked it. And next thing you know, she's getting a call from her institution where this group of terrorists, India type of folks, are trying to take $20 grand out of her account. Yeah, well, obviously, they put a stop to that right away. But the point is,
which those scams have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Again, it's prying on the elderly because, again, my age group knows pretty damn well, again, what that all is. Again, you see those videos, you know those reports, so it is what it is. But anyways, moving at least very quickly past that, do want to at least address as well, too. This is a story that came out about a couple weeks ago, but it was something that at least a moment of silence was held at our game this past Friday night, Cheyenne East. East Side student and a few others were involved in a car crash here in town. Again, one of the students did lose their life. This happened on East Lincoln Way. Again, I do believe in front of the McDonald's that's over there. So at least, again, kudos to Cheyenne East as well, too, to at least hold that, at least moment of silence before, again, that contest between East and Laramie this Friday night. Again, it was a scenario that, again, the driver lost their life. The other individuals that were in the car, at least involved in the accident, again, moved into serious condition over at Cheyenne Regional Medical Center. So,
and again, speeding was the cause.
Yeah.
And again, too, and we didn't get that opportunity with Chief Francisco because, again, of all of the things that were going on. I see this here at the corner of Delrange and Conference. I've seen it now for 15 years. I saw it the other morning because you asked me to pick you up and take you to our Kia dealership. But the thing is, when we're in a hurry-up world. Sorry, that's just the way life is.
Yeah.
And for some reason, whoever our traffic guru is with the city of Cheyenne, this going north to south in the morning is only set for about 7 seconds.
It's like that during the day as well, too. Again,
and no, they give it a little extra time.
I don't know about that.
For going home. But the point, and you got to see how backed up it gets at noon. But my point is, people are trying to beat these lights.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the collision was with 3 vehicles. And again, like I said, somebody is going to try to ram through there. You're going to make a turn, whatever the case may be, because the light says green.
Yeah.
And again, folks, we got to slow down. And unfortunately, speed was involved in this situation at McDonald's. And again, if the posted speed limit, and again, have I broken a speed limit once or twice in my life? Yes. But again, we got to adhere to the speed limits. There's a reason why they're in place.
Yeah, plain and simple. Again, we're a preventative accident, and that was kind of at least equated to, or at least a response from Cheyenne Police Department. Again, yeah, just respect the speeds are there for a reason, and again, it's tough to at least see again. Member of the Cheyenne community, especially again a teenager over at Cheyenne East, lose their life in a situation like that. But like I said, it was again a story that, or at least an incident that happened early month here in September. But again, Cheyenne East at that at least Friday's football game again, at least give them kudos of that moment of silence for again losing a fellow at least Thunderbird over there.
Should we head into the break here?
Yeah.
And make sure our guests have arrived? All right. Well, we are going to take a break. We'll come back with hour number 2 of KRAE Report so we can review. We're back after these words.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one stop to shop for these Super Radio buys heard only right here. Jose Cuervo Special Tequila. Gold or silver, 750 milliliter bottle, $16.49. Busch or Busch Light, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $20.99. And Tanqueray Dry Gin, 750 milliliter bottle, $17.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low price leader. For over 30 years and still delivering the results you expect is Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service. Larry Prawley again for cars in downtown Cheyenne, reminding you that John and his staff are there to take care of your vehicle's woes. From an oil change and replacing windshield wipers to digging deep into fixing your heating and your air conditioning unit or fixing your brakes and shocks, you can depend on Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service for taking care of most minor repairs. And most importantly, John is a TechNet professional, which says he is one of the best nationally when it comes to getting your car or truck back on the road as soon as possible. Check it out online, technetprofessional.com. Don't wait till the last minute. Have your vehicle serviced by one of the best in Cheyenne. Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 307-632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
At Wyoming Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, we pair award-winning orthopedic services with the latest technology and high-quality patient-focused care, all at a location that's close to home. Whether you come to us for physical therapy, surgery, or a sports or job-related injury that requires expert care, we focus on your best outcome and on getting you right back out there to enjoy the activities you love. Learn more about our services at CheyenneRegional.org/ortho.
Hop into the KRAE Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 KRAE, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480krae.com.
Your memorable adventures start right here at Kia of Cheyenne. I'm AJ Miller, and it's time to come in and see the new 2022 Kia Sorento with exceptional style, safety, and comfort for the money. Get plenty of value and standard features like 3-row seating for up to 7 passengers, 8-speed automatic transmission, remote keyless entry, and an 8-inch touchscreen display. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one stop to shop for these Super Radio buys heard only right here. Jose Cuervo Special Tequila. Gold or silver, 750 milliliter bottle, $16.49. Bush or Bush Light, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $20.99. And Tanqueray Dry Gin, 750 milliliter bottle, $17.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader. MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Otherwise, for today, sunshine. Expect the daytime high near 86. Mostly clear for tonight. Low down to 54. Continued sunny for tomorrow. We're expecting a daytime high near 84. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy. Low down to 50 degrees with a chance of showers. And on Wednesday, a little bit cooler, mostly cloudy and breezy. We're expecting a daytime high near 61 with a chance of showers during the afternoon.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time now for something new for you. It's KRAE Reports, a week in review. Now let's check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
And good afternoon and good timing on our second hour of our program. We get to talk with a good friend of mine who I've known for a few years now, and it's nice at times to be in the position I'm in because I get a chance to chat with those that are, of authority in their certain professions, and I get a chance now to talk with the president of FirstTier Bank. 2 locations, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, and right now at 18th and KRAE, celebrating their first anniversary on their second location. So Tim Ostic joins us, president of FirstTier Bank. Again, locally owned properties here in Cheyenne. Tim, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the 1-year anniversary downtown.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate all your support. It's good to see you today.
All right, so we are going to get into a little bit of our conversation, unless you wanted to say something right out of the box.
I was saying, we kind of spoke a little bit off air, Tim, but again, the reason why, at least I contacted him, and it was more so, again, when this issue happened or when he found out, at least about this over Friday, was, hey, let's get someone in, again, knowledgeable, and at least kind of give us, the full understanding of just the protections that are out there regarding check fraud, and just kind of how do we make sure that this doesn't happen again to whether it's him or again for other folks around, again, small businesses here in Cheyenne, or in just at least those citizens that still use a checking book out there. But I guess, Tim, let's start into of our conversation here of, again, he gave you the quick rundown of it. And again, we won't go into the full detail again, or at least name the institution or anything like that. But again, when a scenario like that happens, that a fraudulent check comes into FirstTier Bank, what's the first thing? Again, we talk about layers of defense, but is the first layer of protection your tellers there at FirstTier Bank? Let's talk about protection.
There's lots of layers of protection that are, the layers of protection are sort of thin in regards to what the automatic processes of the bank are, and then what it takes to actually get somebody to, stop those automatic processes and get actual, get people involved on a specific instance. The most important thing customers have to understand is that banks clear checks and debit card transactions, hundreds and thousands at a time, depending on the size of the bank. And just based on the speed in which banks and credit unions, all financial institutions, have to clear those transactions, it's pretty much an automated process. So the protection for your account, the most important thing you can have as protection for your account is a watchful eye on your own end. You need to there's certain things you have to do on, I would say, at least a weekly basis if you have internet bank access. If you don't, if you just do it by bank statements, then, every month. But you've got to make sure you know what's going in and out of your own account. Balance your checkbook, balance it as often as you can if you have internet bank access. Change your password on your internet banking every month, just in case somebody has gotten a hold of it through an internet hack or, other devious means. But the most important thing that customers have to realize is that the protection for their account starts with them. Then if something happens, the other most important thing to do is to report it to the bank in a very timely manner, because the quicker you can go in and fill out the fraud paperwork, get the process started, the better chance you have of the bank actually crediting you back that money in a timely manner.
So again, where I'm talking to you, I'm depending on you as a steward of my money to bail me out, but you're saying now in today's world, as opposed to 10, 15 years ago, you're telling me now that it's my choice that I need to keep an eye on this stuff.
Well, doesn't matter if it's now or 15 years ago or 50 years ago.
But you would always call. And again, I'm not picking on Tim. I'm picking on banks in general or credit institutions where they would have questions about a certain, they would red flag a check and say, did you authorize this?
Yeah. That can happen in today's world, but it's not going to happen that often. The most likely thing that'll happen if you get, if somebody grabs your account number from wherever, prints a check and tries to run it through your account, probably, I don't know, the vast majority of instances where that happens, the first time the bank will know about it is when you say, hey, I don't think this, $500 should have gone out of my account. Can you show me an image of that item? And then you start from there. If the check fraud has the right account number, the right routing number, the right everything, chances are it's going to go through. But if you notice in a timely manner, and again in a timely manner, that it's gone out of your account, again, you can report it, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that money credited back to your account almost immediately, because banks take losses on check fraud and debit card fraud a lot. I mean,
and it's a shame that you have to get hit with that, because, and again, we always say member FDIC, and let's not take that for granted, member by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. But isn't there a point too? It's kind of like any insurance. Hey, you're losing X amount of dollars every month. When are they going to say, hey, something's wrong with your institution?
Well,
banks, I'm just throwing that as an example.
Banks undergo very regular examinations of their operations process and of their IT setup. So if banks don't have the right IT processes in place, the FDIC will remedy that. They will, before you start operations, you have to pass FDIC muster. You're audited on an ongoing basis, both on the IT side and the operations side. So the bank's infrastructure is likely to be compliant with FDIC standards. You can argue that the FDIC standards should be different or that they should be more stringent, but banks that have ongoing operations, they do comply with FDIC standards. That being said, the FDIC knows, and all regulators know, that a certain amount of fraud is going to try to happen in people's accounts. And generally speaking, banks will, give you credit for those fraudulent activities. That's typically on a fraudulent check. We need paperwork to fill it out, and then we just credit it back. unless we have reason to believe that the customer is involved in the fraud, which that happens to us as well once in a while, not often, but once in a while. But unless we believe that the customer is involved with the fraud, we generally just credit it back, even if it's a fairly substantial amount.
I want to get into with you, Tim. Again, we talk about layers, and this is where at least my first question was kind of leading into, is more so of that. When I think of the first layer protection for for an account, again, it kind of lays with the tellers at these institutions, whether it's federal credit unions, at banks, where again those tellers again are the first ones to see that check in hand and kind of read through again those numbers, and here's your money, here's where the account is, here's your ID to kind of match up all that stuff. Are tellers trained on to keep an eye on check fraud, of what to look out for? And do we have, especially with technology as it is, and again the thing I think of, again back in the day we had the marker to see if $100 bill was a fake. Again, you swipe
we still
it.
do.
So let's go into that then. Again, what tellers are trained on, and again what tools that they have to at least keep an eye out for fraudulent checks?
The best thing a teller knows about you is tellers know, whether it's a big bank or a small bank or a credit union, whoever it is, tellers that are experienced, one, they know their customers pretty well. Even in big banks, they know them a lot better than you think they would. So they know what the general pattern is of stuff that runs in and out. If a check for $10,000 is trying to come through someone's account that keeps an average balance of $700, that's going to get noticed. But again, if the money is there, tellers are not going to see every one of those transactions. I will tell you that where tellers are invaluable on the security side is when people come in to deposit checks. So when you come in and you try to deposit a check into your account, if that looks different than the stuff you normally deposit, the teller's going to know that, and the teller is trained to watch for that, and they'll check it out as best they can. But again, so many of these processes are automated that you can't, the days when you picked up a check, looked at it, keyed it in, filed it, took it out of the account, those are gone. And it doesn't matter what financial institution you're at, those days are gone. And so you have to realize that there's automated processes in place, and until you notify the bank, those automated processes will just keep going unless there's not enough money in the account to clear that check.
And again, you had about a minute to look at my situation. And again, all the red flags that were shown. So to me, a couple things. Wherever this was cashed, either that party could have been in on it, and I don't want to call the teller, let's just say that institution could be in on the scam.
Absolutely.
But again, because most institutions would probably question a very, I want to say a vanilla check, because that was mine. It was a vanilla check, and nobody even addressed it. And you even saw the number stamped on the back wherever the institution was at.
In the case of in your particular instance, a teller at another institution, not your bank, but somewhere else, looked at that check, saw that it was from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and that check didn't look exactly right. That teller, that should have been a red flag to the teller. And what should have happened is they should have put a hold on that check, because this is kind of strange. They should have held that check and not given him the funds until X amount of days went by. Then ideally what would have happened is when that check came in, you noticed it on your end and said, whoa, time out. Now there's time for that check not to clear. But again, because that teller at the bank, wherever that was that cashed that check, that's the one who should have caught that. Because I guarantee you that unless they're engaged in widespread check fraud, whoever that was that cashed that check, they don't normally have checks from Cheyenne, Wyoming running through their account. And the teller should have picked up on that and put a hold on that check, or just flat not cashed it.
Well, I want to get into kind of more the back end and bookkeeping side of things for bank, and this is something at least hopefully you'll be able to speak upon, Tim. But again, when that check does get cashed, and again we look at, hey, the number is way out of sequence. That hey, it's cashed in some other location, wherever it may be. Again, we do not know exactly where that check was cashed. But I guess on a bookkeeping side of things, again, for those that input all that data, is that automatic or
It's automatic.
Is there also too something where, again, I think of the word audit, but is there an audit within banks that kind of go and look at individual accounts, this day, that day, even though, again, we are dealing with many, many customers at a bank?
I wouldn't say there's a normal, like, random audit process for accounts. But again, everything that clears through a person's account, if there's an issue, you really have to let them know in a very timely manner, or things start breaking down, down the line. But again, the part that makes it tough to catch check fraud and debit card fraud is even worse. But the part that makes it tough to catch is that there's lots of automatic processes in place. But there's also always a human error at some point. In this case, the human error was when the teller cashed that check, on an out-of-state basis for a customer that has probably had no business getting checks from Cheyenne, Wyoming. They didn't say a thing. And if they'd have called your bank and said, hey, is this check any good? They just said, that doesn't sound right to us. And then they might have called you. That's what should have happened.
Right.
But again, there is pressure on banks to clear stuff lickety-split. And that's why things break down.
I want to get in. Where's that pressure coming from, or at least go deeper on that? Where is that from? The Fed? Is that from? Where's that pressure?
There's all kinds of Fed rules to clear checks in a timely manner, which you need, because otherwise there's too many uncollected funds running around the system, and there's just too much float. So it's kind of a catch-22.
When we get a monthly bank statement, and this, and again, I still get the paper statement. I'm assuming everybody still, to a certain degree, gets a paper statement, or you can go online. But for me, I want a paper statement, especially for the tax purposes. But as I look at that situation, so they're printing up deposits, they're printing up the checks that were written, and then they're giving me a rundown of all the checks that were cashed, and then they show me at the bottom check sequence out of 5,000 out of sequence. Is there somebody overseeing that, or is this just all automated and it's just pumped out? Nobody's going through all of the checks I wrote for that month. I mean, my bookkeeper obviously wanted to see every check I wrote, for my taxes.
Right. At the bank.
Yeah. Is this all done automatically, computer-wise?
Yeah, it is automatic.
Yeah, okay.
30 years ago, somebody would have been keying in those entries by hand and then hand filing the checks to then get, returned to you in a statement.
Right.
Now everything just gets imaged at the time it's accepted or at the time it's cleared. And, there is no...
Now, is it imaged at that? So this check was written the 9th, cashed on the 12th. Was it imaged back to the local institution within about 3, 4, 5 days?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody should have called me then. Wouldn't you think? Like, this doesn't look right?
Ideally.
Yeah, and I'm not putting you on the spot,
But
Jim, because this obviously didn't concern you.
Yeah.
But the next point of contention that I have, and Nick and myself talked, and we talked briefly off air, was why in the hell Am I going down to these institutions and signing card after card saying, hey, I'm responsible, I'm the only one who can be on the check, and yet somebody whose name is not mine is at the bottom of that check, and they allowed it to go through?
Yeah. Well, again, these are automatic processes that have to be cleared in a certain time frame. But that's why, if you report the fraud in a timely manner, that's exactly the reason why the bank will normally credit it back to you and take the hit themselves.
Yeah, but see, and again, too, I'm not trying to be mean about it, but it's like I said, you're stewards of our money.
Yeah.
And I know you can't keep an eye on 8,000 accounts.
Right. Which is why the bank normally would take the hit and just credit you the money back.
I guess for you, Tim, where again we talk about the automatic process, which again I understand with technology, and hey, you're dealing with a lot of checks, you're dealing with a lot of customers. Hey, you want to at least make sure that again your tellers are not wasting time. That hey, again we're moving through kind of at least on a fluid moment. But again, for you who's been in kind of the banking industry for quite some time, do you prefer kind of the older way where again we were hand entering everything? Was it like a safer time back then, or do you like the automatic nature that we are now in?
I don't think it was really well.
Or I guess give us like the pros and cons of again from the old days of key in to automatic now.
I'm not sure if it was safer back then or now, because back then you would have had more keystroke errors where stuff from other people's accounts will funnel into yours, just a pure flat mistake. So I'm not sure if it was any safer back then. But whether it's now, then, or whenever, again, the most important thing is you've got to have somebody that's looking out for your account, because again, timeliness is key here. If you tell the bank and fill out the fraud paperwork in a very timely manner, you've got a really excellent chance of getting that money back. In fact, you almost always will, really. But the more time that goes by and the more whatever, then it gets a little murkier. But banks are not. Banks are well equipped to stop fraud once they know there's a problem. There's all kinds of things going on in normal banking where people don't know there's a problem until you tell them. So that's why it's so important that you watch your account and everything like a hawk. Change your passwords often. It sounds pretty obvious, but don't give people your account number, because you would be amazed at the people who just give out their account number willy-nilly, and then they're just shocked when somebody comes in and tries to take their money.
And this goes kind of into the PSA portion of the program for you, Tim, or again for you at FirstTier Bank. Again, at least more for the older kind of generation, again, with, again, guy over here to my right-hand side. But again, for those folks that, again, where I do the online banking, I keep an eye on it. Again, I get the alerts and all that updates, again, online. So, again, it's at the click of, on my phone. But for those folks that are not on that, again, that technological side, what do you recommend for those folks, again, to keep an eye out on their accounts of? Do we inquiry to the bank, call them, request statement? I mean, how do we keep the older folks kind of protected?
For people who like paper bank statements and just, do things pretty old school, it comes down to balancing your bank statement as soon as you get it. Just call your banker and get a balance inquiry and just check the last couple of things that cleared, maybe midway through the month. Just keep in touch with your bank and let them know that you're watching your stuff, and just make sure you get your stuff balanced when you get it. And if you're careful, you normally won't have a problem. But if you do have a problem, the more timely you find it and tell the bank about it, the better off you're going to be.
Now, we talk about my situation with the check fraud. What other types of frauds are going against lending institutions or folks like me, what other type of frauds involving me versus bank that you see? We already mentioned debit cards. What other things that you have seen in your career that have been tried to been passed off to banks?
Oh, we catch, there's more wire fraud that we deal with.
So transfers.
Yeah, on a fairly regular basis. We have family members trying to, one of the things the banks really do watch for is for their elderly customers. We try to watch out for elder abuse from people that, even sons and daughters sometimes try to, sign on to a relative's account when that customer really doesn't want them to, really doesn't need them to, and then they end up writing a check for the money, or, that's really tough for banks to watch out for, but we really do try to make sure that our senior citizens customers aren't being taken advantage of by either outsiders or people within their family. And that's a big area of concern for banks, because it, especially when it's family, you get into some very sticky situations where you're thinking that, customer A is getting ripped off by her son, basically. And sometimes you can help them out, and sometimes there's not a lot you can do about it, but we do try to watch out for it and make sure that that's really what they want.
I know too, and again, one of the nice things about FirstTier Bank, and again, being there for business people like myself, commercial lenders, I was thinking about, is that type of fraud ever perpetrated on a bank too, from a property investment firm or a building company, whatever? Have you ever seen anything like that where they say, "Hey, I need X," and then it's gone?
It's generally, commercial loans are generally less susceptible to fraud, simply because we get financials, we get tax returns, we get all kinds of stuff before we actually do it. But banks get, the weirdest case of fraud that I can remember hearing about, and this wasn't at a bank in Cheyenne, it was a bank in Fort Collins, but a guy came in, owned a house, wanted to get a HELOC for $20,000 on this house. Here's my ID, here's my pay stubs, here's my everything. As it turned out, the guy who actually owned the house, the guy's twin brother came in and got the loan. Actually had his driver, it was weird. So the guy's twin brother ripped him off and got a home equity line of credit on his house, advanced it, and then obviously was off to wherever. And the bank ended up eating that loan because, the customer didn't borrow the money and didn't get the money.
Right.
And that's probably the weirdest case of fraud I've ever heard of. But we're on fairly high alert for fraud all the time, because obviously where the money is, that's where the fraud is. And so there are lots of, we deal with thousands and thousands of great people every day, but we deal with a couple of people every day who are probably not out.
They're shady.
Yeah, they're probably not out for anybody but themselves, and they're looking to take other people's assets.
Well, Tim, we want to thank you for joining us here. Again, Tim Ostic, president of FirstTier Bank, 2 locations, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, and again, downtown, 18th and KRAE, celebrating their first anniversary. Drop on by. See all our friends at either location. One last parting comment from you. We're getting into the holiday season. Usually we see a lot of fraud at this time, and I'm sure banks, lending institutions probably get hit with most of their tabs at this time of year. So some words of advice to guys like Larry who are dumber than a box of rocks.
You ever watch the old show Hill Street Blues, Larry? I bet you did, because you're about as old as I am. Just be careful out there. If anything sounds too good, it is. And just don't give people your information just because they say they need it.
All right, so I guess I will not be marrying a Nigerian princess. All righty, sounds good. Tim, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you doing it last minute with us to
Thank you, Larry.
get us
Thank
caught
you,
up
Nick.
on things that are developing in our world. This is KRAE Reports that we can review. I do believe we're going to wrap things up, and we'll be back after this timeout.
Your local hometown bank, FirstTier Bank, invites you to come celebrate the first anniversary of their downtown branch at 18th and KRAE. And during the anniversary celebration, come to either branch at 1508 Stillwater Avenue or downtown and enjoy some coffee and cookies. FirstTier Bank is still offering the best CD rates around on a wide variety of CD products. So talk with Caitlin, Amy, and Lavana today. And for all your commercial lending needs, let Tim, Tad, Stacy, and Spencer hook you up to suit your business needs. FirstTier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, and now celebrating their second branch's one-year anniversary at 18th and KRAE. We want to be your bank. Member FDIC.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. We're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Remember, for all your lumber and hardware needs, stop at the family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
When you are dealing with the coin shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The coin shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
Hey Cheyenne, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. Are you ready to get that new floor you've been waiting for? Wait no more. Mohawk's summer sale is here. Absolute Flooring has placed all types of flooring by Mohawk and other manufacturers on sale, just in time for you to get that new floor now. Low prices throughout the store, no interest financing, experienced fashion consultants. What are you waiting for? Beat feet down to Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza and see us at AbsoluteFlooringWYO.com. It's always your home, your floor, your store. Absolutely.
Chase your new adventures with the fun and rugged all-new 2023 Kia Sportage. I'm AJ Miller, and you will impress and rule the road with the 2023 Kia Sportage. Kia Sportage comes with an outstanding array of available features, a 12-inch dual panoramic display, premium audio, and wireless phone charging. Kia Sportage also has best-in-class cargo space. Come by Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123, or go to kiaofcheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE.
I'm Captain Don Hollingshead with the Silent Witness Crime of the Week. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to larcenies that occurred on August 10th in the area of Chalk Bluffs Road and US 85. 22 microwave transmitters and 4 rectifiers were taken from cell towers at that location. If you have information about this or any other crime, call Crime Stopper Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslaramiecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Otherwise, for today, sunshine. Expect the daytime high near 86. Mostly clear for tonight. Low down to 54. Continued sunny for tomorrow. We're expecting a daytime high near 84. Tuesday night, mostly cloudy, or low down to 50 degrees with a chance of showers. And on Wednesday, a little bit cooler, mostly cloudy and breezy. We're expecting a daytime high near 61 with a chance of showers during the afternoon.
One last thing here for me as we get ready to wrap things up. Thank you to Tim Ostic. Also, too, earlier, Mark Francisco, Cheyenne Police Department. Things, and again, this is not all about Larry's program today, because, again, Chief Francisco came in to give us a lot of statistics of what's going on, how things are developing within the Cheyenne Police Department. You opened up the bottom of that hour to talk about my situation, and Tim came on in a timely manner to talk about it. And again,
the goal with Tim on that situation was to again get him in and give us an understanding of just how banks kind of operate, federal credit unions, of just again in this day and age of what is in place to prevent that, especially in a fast-pacing, moving, automatic world. It's pretty much of there's preventative measures, at least
preventative
measures at the bank, but also too there's a little onus on a person as well too. But he did at least allude to you during the break, and I wish we had it on air, but I do believe what it was promise pay, if I remember correctly. Again, there was like a service where it was pretty much of you had itemize every single at least transaction to basically.
Well, and he also said too that my current institution should make it good to me, but they're not. And again,
should, and we'll see. Again, if I were you, I would press on them. But.
No, I will move my account out of there. So that would be one less local business I work with. I do want to mention this here before we go.
Again, appreciative of FirstTier Bank sponsor here. Do want to mention that they are a sponsor of 1480 KRAE high school sports as well too. So again, at least very appreciative of Tim coming in and give at least kind of from a third party, or at least
you're
outside,
the president of the bank.
Well, I'm just saying, but again, an outsider perspective within the banking industry to see what was going on between you and Cheyenne State Bank. So again, it's something that. Glad to have him in to at least kind of explain what they would have done, or again how this operates this day and age. So.
And again, basically threw it back in my lap that I'm the first stopgap, they're the secondary,
which is fair.
And again, like I said, I agree and disagree.
It's fair, but also
where I disagree.
It's fair and also too a little scary as well too. That again, it is an automatic process. That again, it's pretty much of there is pressure from the Fed, as he alluded to. That again, it's a time-sensitive situation where again these checks are just in and out, boom, boom, boom. That there really isn't that checks and balances.
But see,
again, it's not a perfect system yet.
I know. This is what I'm saying though. This is where I call them stewards of my money. Here, I'm handing you this, Nick. I'm handing you money. I'm asking you to protect it. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to spend some of it. And then you're going to distribute some of that money.
Yeah.
So, again, throwing it all back on me, I got a problem with that. Like I said, I can handle
it's a little
50-50.
cheap. It's a little cheap on the other institution. Again, I'll keep on naming them Cheyenne State Bank for what they did.
But even Tim said that too. I'm responsible.
Yeah, but again, it's something that's, again, your institution, there's some fault that lies on them, or again, you figure that they would be, the bigger person, the bigger entity to at least say,
all the red flags that went through, and they didn't catch one of them. That bothers me.
Yeah. So again, it's something that they're trying to shift the blame, and again, I think it's a little bit of laziness as well too on Cheyenne State Bank.
Enough of my whining about stuff. Let's get here real quick. Wrap things up. If you haven't heard, and this was in the Wyoming Tribune Eagle, Cheyenne Classical Academy is expected to open in the fall of 2023. When you think classical academy, what classical music, whatever the case may be, I
figured it'd be a private school, but
it is. It's initially to serve more than 100 school kids here in Laramie County. So another charter school,
which again you're paying for into a private school, and it is what it is. If folks want to get out of the public education system to move into private, there you go. You got another option here in Cheyenne. So I have no issue with it. Again, it just means choice and option out there for folks if they want to.
But it's interesting to note they don't have a facility yet.
Not yet.
This is only for starters. And the founders eventually plan to have a K through 12 student population of 600. They say close to 250 students of their parents in Laramie County have already expressed interest. Interesting. So this school will be in Laramie County School District number 1, although not overseen by Laramie County School District number 1. Interesting.
It's private compared to public. So again, it's something that you're seeing a lot of folks move their children out of public schools for whatever reason. And again, you see it more. Again, you're seeing folks get out of public institutions because again, you're seeing some interesting teaching.
Too many politics are
a
involved
little,
in school now.
politics, absolutely. So again, more folks are opting to at least pay the money to go to private. So we'll see how big of an institution this will be in Cheyenne. How again, if it's something that needs to expand, what the hell it may at least inquire here. So again, no issue with it. I had a feeling it was coming. So we'll see how
It's
develops.
interesting because you have parochial, which is usually Catholicism. You have homeschooling, which, Nick, you'd be teaching the kids. You have Laramie County School District number 1. You have another charter school in place. How many charter schools? And again, too, I'm kind of interested. And the only thing that interests me is, what is the curriculum? That's what I'd like to see. I mean, are they teaching the R's, reading, arithmetic, and math?
Yeah.
I mean, what reading, writing, and math. My point is, what is...
Isn't that the same valid question that you would want out of a public institution as well, too? Again, whether it's elementary to high schools around here.
And
it's
again,
like,
too,
it's what are you teaching in the public side?
You know, let's say a civics class. Are you reading a book that was published in 2022? Are you reading a book from 2010? I mean, what? I'm just kind of interested.
Are you banning books from your read list? Where again, for my age,
and what
I think it was somewhere in high school where again I read To Kill a Mockingbird, but again that's a book that's been widely banned that again we're not allowing folks to read into. So again there's millions of questions that again for a public or private school entity around, even here in Cheyenne, that yeah you should question the curriculum. And like I said, I think choice is good for parents out there where if you're not happy with the public process or the public institutions around here, there you go. You pay a little bit more for private.
And here's my second question. Again, pretending that I'm not intelligent, you go to the University of Wyoming, you get a teaching degree.
All right.
Does that teaching degree allow you to be a charter school teacher? Is a teaching degree just a teaching degree? That's what I
would assume.
Okay, so basically you get that teaching degree.
I would assume that private schools are vetting just like public schools, and again, it's show me what you've done in university or what your study or your specific at least focus is on. So again, I don't know why you're bringing up this question. I would assume
they hand them the curriculum.
If anything, for a private institution, you'd think that they're going to hold, because again, private, especially those teachers, think that the salaries are going to be a little bit better than public institutions.
I don't think so.
I think they're a little bit better. Again, not substantial, but it's something that, again, if you're paying money into this, the parents are, that, again, that salary should probably go up. So
you pay money to go to parochial school.
But anyways, again, it's something that if a private institution is going to charge, and I guess in my mind, a private institution would probably want kind of the cream of the crop, or at least they're going to probably be heavy vetters of teacher applicants coming into that school. Because I would figure that, again, if a parent's going to pay into this, they're going to want the best for their child, and they're going to at least expect the best out of that teacher. So
right, okay. I'm just curious. Those are mind-boggling questions that I just want answered. All right, we're going to wrap things up here a little bit early for today. We want to remind you tomorrow we will be in with our sports program. We'll get things underway at 11 o'clock. Right now, you're working on a guest list.
As of right now, it seems like we will have Cheyenne Central head football coach Mike Apodaca join us on the phone, talk about the big upset victory on the road against Thunder Basin. So we'll get into his conversation, talk about the Central High Indians. I do believe also working on right now, again, the or at least the color commentary guy, Kevin McKinney, associate athletic director there at the University of Wyoming.
He's retired.
What?
He's retired.
So he's still
former.
He's still doing it over there, and again, he's
still the color commentator.
There you go.
But
so again, he's first and foremost. Again, he has a good eye of what this Cowboy football team is making themselves to be at, where again they're surprising us as well too. Again, got the win over Air Force at home on Friday night. So we will talk with him, working on a few other guests, but again, confirmed right now, Kevin McKinney and Mike Apodaca at least joining us on tomorrow's show.
All right, well, we're going to wrap things up a little bit. We're going to get underneath the covers in our separate bedrooms and try to, get this cold out of our heads so we can be normal people again. Do want to mention Friday, we're in Burns. Congratulations, Travis Ramzo picking up his first win, his first career win as head coach of the Bronx as they beat the Dogies of Newcastle this past Friday. And we will have them at home against the Upton Sundance Patriots. That'll be on tap Friday evening. I do believe 6 o'clock.
I don't think that's right. I do believe it's 7. As
okay.
Seems like Class 4A is moving into the 6 o'clock realm for all their games. Class 2A, especially for Burns, it looks like they've kept theirs pretty true and standard at 7 p.m. So I would assume 7.
And I would venture to say it'll probably be a homecoming night as well.
Yeah.
All right. So for Nick Proetti, I'm Larry Proetti. We wrap up KRAE Reports so we can review. You have a magnificent Monday. Bye-bye.